Mario Kart World is the biggest risk that Nintendo have ever taken, and that's from a company that did this and this. The Nintendo Switch is unlike previous Nintendo consoles. Switch 2 is more of the same, but better, which means that its games are the selling point. And so Nintendo offers up a new version of its best-selling game on Switch, with over 65 million units sold, i.e. tens of millions of fans looking forward to more of the same. With a format and mechanics honed over 30 years, and they've gone and changed it, like fundamentally. Received wisdom might have said, people love the Mario Kart formula, there are millions of unit sales at stake here, don't mix it up. Nintendo's strategy is completely different, but is it the right one? Hi, I'm Nathan, I'm a game director and producer, and in this video we're going to be taking a deeper look at the newly announced Mario Kart World, the Switch 2 from a developer and player point of view. So how do you build a game with such expectations? I tend to start with the audience, of which there are many who enjoy Mario Kart, from the Nintendo fans who love the use of IP, from environments to characters and items, families and children who love the accessibility and inbuilt ramp of difficulty, and competitive friends who love the constant challenges and near unfair rubber banding that keeps every race tight. Then I'd look at features in 3 layers. Hygiene features are additions that fans would expect, then small innovations that refresh the formula, to big innovations that serve as the headline and main talking points. And we can see all 3 in the new footage: new characters, new items, new costumes, new tracks, and the new voice chat. The small innovations include karts transforming into boats and ski sleds, the rail grinding and wall jumping, and new gameplay modes like Knockout Tour. Which brings us to the big innovation, which is open world. I think the open world innovation is the riskiest thing Nintendo have ever done, with implications for gameplay and audience. You see, game design is a highly complex, interconnected series of elements. Some things you can tweak with relatively little impact on the game, like new characters. Others are more fundamental and can affect the balance of the experience, like items. But Nintendo have gone so much further. In the new game, there is an interconnected single world with the races located in specific areas. There's a free roam mode where you can pootle about by yourself or with mates. There's a battle royale style knockout mode where you and your competitors go on a road trip style race, with those at the back being eliminated at each checkpoint. And then there's the classic Grand Prix, except that second, third and fourth race in each group begins with a journey from the previous location to the next. This, combined with the larger number of players, necessitates longer, straighter and less repeated parts of each race. What it means in practice is that the way tracks connect together as part of a continuous world is a major driver of design. And that means a very significant change from the last 30 years of track design. Here's an example: classic track from Mario Kart 8 with frequent tight twists and turns, brilliant for smart use of drifting and boosts, brilliant for strategic use of banana skins hidden around bends, brilliant for ricocheting shells, and brilliant for keeping the pack together. Players need to constantly concentrate, else slip off the track and lose position. Now look at this from the new Mario Kart World. It's one of the connecting sections that occurs at the start of races 2, 3 and 4 in Grand Prix. Due to the connected nature of the game, these are wider and straighter and safer. And you see this time and time again in the hands-on footage that is now being shared, regardless of which race people are racing. This fundamentally changes the nature of racing in Mario Kart, and maybe that's for the better. Certainly the press with early access have said positive things about it, but it's nonetheless a ginormous risk because it changes play so much. And I'm skeptical. So much of my engagement in Mario Kart comes from repeating the laps, learning every twist and turn to maximise those drifts and figure out where to lay down the banana skins. Where tight twists and turns are concerned, I'm always on the edge of control. It means that the design team at Nintendo will have had to have changed more than just the open world nature of the experience. They'll have had to re-examine the item sets too. In fact, we see that in the playthrough from Nintendo Treehouse of the new Knockout mode. After a minute or so, the 2 players never see the other CPU players again, despite putting CPU difficulty on hard. And because the pack is so spread out, so a whole load of items lose their value. Shells, mushrooms and fireballs take a back seat, and the only indication of other races in the game come from the occasional lightning bolt, ink splat and blue shell, which do nothing to change the race positions. Of course, this changes when you're racing against human players, but we never saw this effect in the previous Mario Kart when racing against CPUs. There's a risk that 30 years of balancing has been reset. There's another minor change which affects the second-to-second play, which is that items are no longer manually held behind the player, it's automatic for all items. This removes an element of strategy, where holding items behind the player risks losing them to competitors, and an element of skill, because holding the stick down to transition whilst also steering and drifting is an essential skill for improving in the game. Without this, and with much less drifting, the second-to-second experience is significantly changed. Now, I don't want to appear negative about the game, I just want to highlight what an extraordinary risk Nintendo are taking with their best-selling Switch game. The presentation looks incredible. Beautiful animation on the characters, immense detail in the carts and the courses, the UI I absolutely love. Much like Super Mario Wonder, it almost looks cool, which is not a word that I generally associate with Nintendo, despite loving their work for decades. And having chosen this risky road, they've absolutely committed to it. And I can see how the idea of an open world has driven every choice they've made. For example, gone are the abstract player lobbies from Mario Kart 8, and spectating on races whilst you wait. As is the case with many established online games, players are quickly put in the world to amble and mess around before a game proper commences. I like to call these Fidget mechanics. It's things that you do to give superficial response to your actions to keep you engaged, like how you can change the facial expressions on the Street Fighter 6 loading screen, or how in the Fortnite lobbies you can shoot players without causing damage. Games today are about stickiness and keeping the player in the game. Any time in Mario Kart 8 that the player goes back to the online lobby is an opportunity to leave. You can see that philosophy in the new character and kart selection menus. They've taken an approach where it looks as least like a game menu as possible. They don't want you to think you're in a game, they want you to think you are already in Mario World. And that cohesion of menus and levels and world extends, I think, to a contraction that others haven't spoken about. I might be wrong, but I don't see anything here outside of Mario, do you? In Mario Kart 8 we had Splatoon characters, Link and Hyrule tracks, Animal Crossing characters and tracks, Mii's F-Zero karts and tracks. That appears to have gone and we're back to pure Mario, which makes perfect sense, because this is a game about cohesion and continuity. Check out these new icons for the different cups. They look like road signs, which is part of a consistent visual language in the new game. We are in Mario World. We drive past citizens going to work, we pass their houses, we negotiate the natural formations in their landscape. So what I love is the presentation, the detail and the quality on show here. This looks like a game that's been in development for years and years. I love the character choices, the kart designs, and I love the continuity of vision, the continuous and exclusive Mario World. What worries me is this bold choice on the gameplay. Much of this gameplay looks like dull, long, generic stretches of track between the good stuff. And clearly once you arrive at the track proper, they're as inventive and hooky as ever. But from the previews, the bits in between don't look fun. And that might be the ugly reality that dawned during development. I hope I'm wrong, but it's exactly the sort of consequence you would expect from such a bold step. And sadly, this is not an approach that worked for Burnout with Burnout Paradise. As inventive as and exciting as that was initially, what it gained in vision and cohesion it lost in immediacy and constant joy. In fact, I imagine that skipping the sections in between racings will be an option, like skipping the horse sections in the first Assassin's Creed. The trouble is that we are beholden to other player choices when we play together. And playing together is where Mario Kart World connects strongest with the vision for Switch 2. It's Mario Kart World. Our world. A world of players where we can meet in lobbies and use the game as a kind of social hub. It's a Mario Kart that unites players who like racing and those who don't. I'm surprised by the number of commenters already who've said that this game has excited them despite never liking Mario Kart before. Plus, if this is one of the games that supports the new games sharing feature, it can be viral in the best way possible. The Mario Kart advocate in the group of friends bringing the game to the others until one day they decide to buy it for themselves. I can't wait to get hands-on with the game, and I'm very jealous of everyone who's been able to play it already. And I'm full of admiration for the bold vision that the developers have had for the game. And hopefully this is exactly the kind of reinvention it needed to last for the next 30 years. I mentioned at the start some of the bold choices that Nintendo have taken in the past. But often that's been through necessity, like when N64 and GameCube sales disappointed and they had to try a radical new direction with Wii. But here they were already succeeding. Tens of millions already loved Mario Kart. It's a formula that's worked for decades. Just when a new console relies on an update, they take this huge risk. Will this be an unforced error? More details on Mario Kart World are coming soon, but let me know what you think about the initial impressions so far.